Hello and welcome to the 37th episode of Inside Music. I'm your host, James Shotwell, and we have a very special episode for you today. My buddy Dawson from the band The Ongoing Concept is here to talk about his new album, Handmade. Now, if you don't know anything about The Ongoing Concept, know this. Handmade is one of the most interesting albums you will hear all year. The band literally built their instruments for this record. They went out into the woods, they found a tree, they chopped it down, they built guitars and drums, and then they recorded an album. And it's impossible for that process to not have influenced the music. But there's also a lot of themes about romance and life to be found as well. It's an incredible record. And when I heard it back in May, I knew that we had to interview someone from the band. Luckily, Dawson spoke up and was willing to participate here on Inside Music, and he's on the show today. Dawson also has another role. He serves as the director for all the band's videos, which kind of adds to the whole handmade feel of the new handmade concept of the new record, I should say. And yeah, it's a great conversation. I think you're really going to enjoy it. Before we get there, I had some other things I wanted to share. Mainly, I feel like I owe you an apology. Inside Music has had all these ups and downs since we started. We started off with some pretty rough quality recordings, then we kind of got our stuff together, and we had a big run of great shows for a while. And I don't know, I've kind of felt up in the air about the last few episodes. Some have been good, some have been kind of mediocre, and I don't know. I feel like I should apologize because there's a level of quality and of intrigue that I'd like to keep with each episode, and we don't always hit it. And when we don't, there's a part of me that knows that. And if we still release the episode, then I feel like I let you down. So if you've listened to a recent episode and it wasn't what you thought it would be, or it didn't live up to your expectations, I'm really trying to get us back on track. This one with Dawson is a good conversation. We hit some interesting notes that I wasn't really expecting us to get to, but it turned out really great. And in the future, the episodes that I'm currently lining up for the rest of the summer have a lot more promise. I'm really trying to find people that have interesting stories or opinions to share. Like, if you haven't heard the episode we did with You, Me, and Everyone We Know has been Leach back at the beginning of the year. That's a great one to go back and listen to. The one we did with I Wrestled a Bear Once, I think, turned out really great. We talked about some big issues going on in the world of metal and things like that. And I'm trying to get back there with the show. So if you know anyone that has a story to share that we should feature here on Inside Music, let me know. Or if you have someone that you think would be a great guest, you can let me know that as well. And the best way to let me know is by connecting with the show on Twitter. Yes, we have a Twitter account just for the podcast, at Inside Music Pod. That's at Inside Music Pod. You can connect with the show on there. You can learn about when new guests have been booked for the show. You can join the conversation between other listeners when they comment about things they thought of the most recent episodes. And yeah, it's kind of like our online hub outside of the Holics blog, where we talk specifically about the show. I'm still building the page out a bit and building out the conversation starters that I'm hoping to, kind of put to use there. But yeah, come join us at Inside Music Pod. I know that's a lot of information to digest. This introduction is getting a little long, so I'm going to hop over to the sponsor. It's our good friends Holics, as always. And then we're going to play a little bit of music from Handmade, the upcoming album from The Ongoing Concept, which hits stores on June 16th. That's just a week from today when the episode is dropping. June 16th, 2015, for those of you listening in the distant future. And yeah, so the show this week is brought to you by Holics, the music industry's leading digital promotional distribution platform. Whether you're looking to get your music in front of the press, or maybe you need a little help fighting piracy, Holics has the tools you need. For more information on Holics and access to a free 30-day trial, visit www.holics.com. That's www.haulix.com. Okay, let's get to the show. All right, man. Well, I want to thank you for doing the show today. I'm excited to chat with you for a minute.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm stoked to be on it. Yeah, cool.
So we're like just under 2 weeks away from the release of your new album, Handmade, which I had an opportunity to hear last month, and I think it's really incredible. I mean, that's kind of why we're doing this in the first place, because I dug the record and I wanted to help get the word out a little bit more. But how you?
Awesome.
So how are you feeling 2 weeks out?
A little stressed, a little, got a lot of stuff going right now. uh, I've been nonstop working, getting ready for this for the past like 8 months or so every day. So it's just kind of haven't really had a break. So it's the grind. But I'm really excited for it all to happen. Everything's been kind of leading up to the release, and just kind of finishing up a lot of last minute projects and little things to, get this thing rolling. But yeah, I'm really excited. There's just a lot of stuff that's involved, so it's been crazy.
Yeah, and I wanna take a little bit of time to dig through it all, but I was trying to think of where to start best. And what I found the most interesting about this handmade campaign is that I have seen people, pun intended, come out of the woodwork who didn't seem to realize that ongoing concept where it was a band like 2 years ago. You have another full length
hmm
album already out, but it seems like this is really the one where like the majority of people are kind of waking up to your sound.
Yeah, Saloon was kind of just like, I feel like a lot of times bands either have like that debut album that like, takes off like instantly, and, 1 minute they're playing shows for $100 guarantee, and the next minute they're headlining, doing a world tour within like 5 months, and other bands, I feel like it takes a few records, and Slim was kind of like that record that I feel like kind of put our foot in the door, got us a little bit of attention, kind of, you know, put us on the radar a little bit. But yeah, I think Handmade's kind of taken on kind of the, just I feel like it's kind of been the album that may be like the album that kind of gets us, you know, I don't know if it's pretentious to say, but possibly, like a household name at some point, and not like AC/DC household name. I'm just meaning like it'll actually get us into people's heads and stuff. So, yeah, hopefully it works out.
No, I think I understand what you're saying. Like this could be the record to take you guys to the next level, or maybe two levels up, or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
it
yeah.
is.
I just feel like I kind of feel like Saloon, like we were kind of a band a lot. A lot of bands liked our band, and stuff like that. And we weren't really like catering to like a specific fan base, like we weren't really like getting up to a lot of people. But I feel like this, Handmade's much more, like marketable, I guess, and I feel it's a lot more pleasing to a more well-rounded group of people. So I just feel like it's going to cater to a lot more people than Saloon did.
Well, I agree, but before we dive into Handmade too much, I want to back up just a bit to give people a little bit of a better understanding of who you are as a band. So
Sure.
you all come from Idaho, correct?
Yes. Well, I mean, I guess
A
this is
little
a
bit.
podcast, but I can kind of go into it more. Actually, me, Kyle, and Parker, three brothers, we're actually from Canada. We were born in Canada. We're all Canadian. But it was only because we lived way up north in Idaho, and it was closer to go to Canada to have us in the hospital there than it was to go to the nearest town in Idaho. So we're Canadian, but we've lived in Idaho our whole lives, and we lived in Rathdrum, Idaho for about 15 years. And we met TJ here in Rathdrum as well. And yeah, we've been here most of our lives. We grew up here, but if you were really specific, we're actually Canadian. So
I looked up your hometown on a map today because I've been to Idaho, but I'd never heard of your tiny town before, and it looks very small.
it is. It's really small. It's a suburb of a bigger city called Coeur d'Alene, which is not huge, but it's I think it's actually on the list for like top 10 best places to live in the world. I could be wrong. It might have changed, but for the longest time, Coeur d'Alene was like up there. It's one of the best places to live. We're just like 10 miles from there, and so yeah, Rathdrum's really small. There's not many people. There's not much to do here, but it's cheaper to live here than it is to live in Coeur d'Alene, and I think this is kind of we just always lived here, so it's just kind of normal.
So tell me, I'm from a small town as well in Michigan, but obviously there's a world difference between Michigan and Idaho. So I'm always curious, like what was the music scene if it existed where you guys grew up? Like what was your first exposure to music outside of stuff on the radio?
Um, like you mean like listening to music or like playing shows?
Either way, I mean experiencing music beyond, what people would consider like typical radio fare.
Okay. There's a lot of kids that I went to school with. Were listening to music. I mean, obviously the internet like helped. The MySpace days definitely. I feel like I feel like we were kind of up to date on everything, even though we're kind of secluded here. But a lot of friends and stuff kind of got us all into different types of music, and yeah, I don't know. We never really listened to much radio. My dad had a lot of CDs that we would listen to. We were definitely into the classic rock thing for a long time when we were growing up. It's just kind of what my dad listened to and stuff. And yeah, I don't know. It's funny to like think about how my musical taste has evolved over the past 23 years of my life. But
Yeah, it's
I
kind
don't
of a
know.
big thing to think about.
It is. Yeah, we went through a lot of stages. We went through kind of like country stage. Because Idaho definitely has a lot of country stations and stuff like that. So when I was really, really young, um, that was a big thing. And then kind of got into more classic rock. And then um, my my teen years, all three of us were really into Dream Theater, which is, I don't even know how that happened, but we were really into like progressive, like technical music for a long time. Some of our very early stuff, even before the ongoing concepts, we've always been playing music together, so we kind of had a few other band names and stuff that we had with other, us three, maybe with like another member, and a lot of that music was very like Dream Theater sounding, and then yeah, it's just kind of evolved, and now I just I went through like a big August Burns Red, Bring Me the Horizon, like metalcore stage, and then now I just listen to kind of just pop rock music now. I don't really listen to the music I play anymore, so kind of funny.
I was actually going to ask you about that. So you guys are on Solid State. You've been on Solid State for a while now, but you are definitely kind of like the ginger kid on the Solid State roster because you are not the heaviest band on the list by a long measure. Not in a bad
Yeah,
way at all, but you do stand out as like an alternative choice.
we're definitely. I sometimes I feel like we fit better with Solid State, like with the bands more with Saloon than we do with Handmade. I feel like Handmade's like a bit poppier. So
Yeah, I think that's a
yeah,
good way
like
to describe it, like poppier maybe.
yeah, like I feel like we have very catchy choruses, and that's kind of how this whole writing process of Handmade that was kind of like the sole goal of writing music was to create very memorable, catchy tunes. Stuff that gets stuck in your head in a good way. But yeah, we're definitely not the heaviest band on Solid State, that's for sure. But then again, we do have some songs that are really heavy, so it's like we're in between.
Yes. So were you guys fans of Solid State before coming to the label? I know you mentioned August Burns Red a few minutes
Yeah,
ago, but growing up, or
yeah,
is that kind of a label that played a role for you?
it did. Yeah, Underoath and Chariot and Emery, um, August Burns Red. I mean, honestly, Messengers was the one album that kind of like jumpstart our band into the type of music we play now. That album is timeless. It's so good. Um, Kind of revolutionized metalcore in its own way. So yeah, we've definitely been huge fans of many Solid State and Truth the Nail bands over the years. So it's been definitely a label that we always kind of hoped to be on, and it happened, which was crazy. So it's been great. It's been awesome.
Yeah, for sure. So let's move up to this new record because I think the first thing that I always something I've found interesting about this campaign is obviously the focus is on how the record kind of came about, and we'll get to that in a second. But you, specifically you, Dawson, have always played like a pretty involved role in all kind of creations of the band. Like you do the
Hmm.
videos and So was it strange that this time around the handmade angle gets so much attention, where you guys have always kind of taken a pretty strong DIY approach to what you do?
Um, Sorry, I'm kind of like trying to think about your question. What's the question more? Like, are you asking like, was it something that I kind of wanted to do because we've always been DIY? Is that what you're?
I guess maybe the better way to do it is like to start somewhere else, and maybe we'll kind of build into this. So I guess
Yeah. Okay.
let's start there. So Saloon is out. You guys tour on it. You do a few videos, and I know that you are behind the director. You get the directing credit for all the videos. So at what point was it during Saloon's release support that you start thinking about the idea for Handmade? How does it come about?
Okay. Yeah, I'm always thinking about ideas. I'm thinking about a third album concept from as we speak. I'm always thinking about future stuff. And Saloon was, after we released Saloon and stuff, I wanted to do something different, something that was much more focused. Like, I think after doing all those videos myself, and doing all and recording everything myself, I kind of got tired of not really getting. I feel like I wasn't getting credit for a lot of it, just because people didn't know that we did it all ourselves. And we've been doing DIY stuff for so freaking long. Besides the label, honestly, we do everything ourselves. And I guess it's like after Saloon came out and directing a bunch of videos and stuff, I was like, I think it'd be really cool if we just took this whole DIY concept and just like, brought it to a whole new level. To kind of just like bring it to a kind of like an artsy side of things. And I started thinking of ideas, and I think I was driving one day with my manager. Actually, we were driving to Seattle to go see the label and talk to the guys, and we were just kind of like brainstorming ideas for an album. And I kind of was just like, we do everything ourselves. Like, I really want to record this album myself again and do it all myself in our house, the comfort of our house, and just kind of do it DIY again. And I started thinking, it's like, we have all this like rural area, it's just nice and secluded here, and there's lots of trees, and heck, we could freaking take an axe and cut a tree down and build our own instruments. And kind of, as I was saying that, I was half joking, and I kind of stepped back and went, actually, that would be really cool if we did that. That would be something that no one's ever done before. Who's ever cut down a tree and built their own instruments? I've never seen that. And that's the most DIY you can get with something. And I don't know, we just started brainstorming ideas, and it just, that day we met up with the label, and I kind of shared with them our little like talk we'd had in the car on the way there, and man, they were so stoked on it. So I was like, this honestly seems impossible to do. I mean, I don't know how we're gonna cut down a tree and mill it and dry the wood and put all these pieces together. I don't know how to build a drum set. I don't know how to build a guitar. This seems like impossible. And I take a lot of projects, that seem impossible at the time, and I feel like if they're impossible, it means that it's worth it. So when it seemed impossible, I thought, this needs to be our next album. And it's kind of just been that. I don't know. It's just kind of morphed into where we are now. It's been a crazy year, and I can't believe we're actually like about to release it, because it's so much work to get it done. So I don't know. Does that kind of answer your question? I kind of just rambled on.
No, that's fine. Like, you can feel free to ramble. Like, I find this so fascinating that I want to know everything. So feel free to just go on. So I want to know. So you kind of just throw the idea out into the ether there. How did the rest of the guys react?
Irritated, probably, because everything I tell them is always unattainable at the time. Like, like when it just stems from everything. Like, CoverGirl. Like, I approach the guys and go, guys, I want to shoot a music video in a classroom with a bunch of kids. First thing they go is, Dawson, that's not going to happen. You can't just get like 30 kids, and you can't just get into a school. There's a lot of like, there's a lot of red tape. I'm like, I know, that's the point. Like, we're going to do it. And it was hard work. And then, like, saloon, like, to go find a saloon in the middle of Montana, like, all that stuff just seems so ridiculously unattainable. And so, yeah, I feel like they've just kind of gotten used to me approaching them and giving them this crazy idea that just seems 100 and just totally impossible to do. And they go, oh, man, this sucks, but this is really cool. If it can happen, this is going to be amazing. But this is going to be really hard to do. And yeah, I don't know. They were probably a little bit irritated because it was such a huge project to even like think about doing, you know, especially when we have no prior like, you know, skill or experience with building anything ourselves, like as far as instruments go. So I don't know. And I think Kyle was honestly the most irritated because he ended up doing like most of the construction like of the instruments because he is like his job, like he's an actual like construction worker, so he works with wood all the time, you know, framing houses and stuff. So he kind of took it with like, Dawson, you're gonna kill me doing this. Like, I'm gonna do so much research and I'm gonna do so much like stuff to make this happen. And I'm like, well, this is gonna be awesome if we do it. So yeah.
Let me ask you this: what do you think your I don't know, let's say curiosity for kind of taking on these like big, seemingly impossible projects stems from? Like, is there something in your childhood when you started just having these kind of big ideas that you would chase after? Like, what do you think that is coming from?
I don't know. I just feel like there's no task that's too big for someone. I feel like the people that are recognized and known in this world for things they've done, they're people that have taken on things that seem impossible and no one believes that they can do it. And they're kind of just like, they live with the fact that they know that everyone kind of doubts they kind of doubt them. They think that they aren't capable of doing something. And I feel like that's what makes people strive to do those things, is because they're like, they want to do something that they can go, I did it. You said I couldn't do it, and I did it. And I don't know. I don't think it's really stemmed from anything from my personal life. It's not like I have like parents that have never believed in me or something. Like, my parents are amazing. They're the most supportive parents ever. But when I look at like even just like film directors, like freaking James Cameron, you know, he approached the studio with the idea for Titanic, and I'm pretty sure that they all probably went, this is insane, James. You can't just build a freaking ship and film a movie. Like, I don't think you're capable of doing this. And he proved to them. And, you know, same with other directors too. Like, I don't know, Peter Jackson with War of the Rings, who knows? Like, there's just people that do these huge tasks, and it probably, you know, gives them an ulcer and probably makes them have gray hair by the time they're 30, but they do these crazy things, and it's, to me, I respect those people so much, and I am inspired by them, and I want to do things like that. So, I don't know, maybe that's what it is.
I think that's a good answer, man. I think that's a good answer. I like how you kind of trail off like you're unsure, but you got it. Don't worry.
I ramble a lot, and I sometimes forget when I don't know. I talk way too much. Like, most people that I know are always just like, Dawson, we get it. Just shut up. So.
No, I get it. I'm the same way. Like, I'll start talking, and after like a minute, I realize like I'm not sure if I've made my point yet or what my point was supposed to be, and I'm like, I guess I'll just stop now.
Yeah, I do. That's how I am all the time. Yeah.
Fair enough. So you throw the idea by the guys. Everyone's kind of on the fence. So is the album cover the tree? Like, so is that the first chop of the first tree? Is that what we're seeing on the album cover?
The album cover is art. The
okay.
actual, like, that's not the real tree that we cut down. That would have taken like probably like a whole day to cut down.
Okay.
The tree in like the video, you know, where it's like from tree to drum set, that's the actual tree we cut down. It's much smaller. In fact, if we were to cut, we would have cops swarming in on us, like within 10 minutes if we were to cut, because that tree is actually on private property.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
the road isn't though, but the tree is. So the truck is on public property, but that tree is not. So like literally, like Kyle had the axe out, and within 10 minutes we had a truck come up, and some ladies like, "You better not be cutting down the tree. I live around here, and I'll call the owners right now, and I'll have the cops come out here." And we're like, "Cool it, lady. Like, we're not going to cut down this tree. We're taking a freaking picture. Like, as you can see, I have a camera right here. We're taking a picture. Calm down. We're not going to cut down this tree." So I guess it's very sacred to whoever owns that property. So,
What a sacred
yeah,
tree, I guess. Yeah. I mean,
it's huge. It's a huge freaking tree, and it's in the middle of nowhere, really. So it's kind of cool because you'll be driving down this road and you'll just see this like lone tree off in the distance. And yeah, we just kind of wanted something to kind of like express handmade, you know, in art form rather than like, because I had another idea for an album cover, and it was cool, but it kind of didn't portray it handmade the way everyone kind of wanted it to. And so I felt like this was much more like, I don't know, it was more of an artsy picture that like expressed the title. And, you know, so you could have lots of things. You could have had like handmade. You could just have a picture of a hand, but that wouldn't really express what we wanted to do. And so, I don't know, the picture kind of just, with Kyle cutting down the tree, just kind of fit best, I guess. So.
Oh, okay. So the actual tree, how did you locate the wood that you would use eventually to make the instruments for the album?
We found some property where we could cut down a tree, and yeah, we just cut down a tree in the woods. And yeah, I don't know. It took a while, and it's kind of, I don't know. It was just kind of a really quick thing we did. It wasn't really like a huge deal. It was just kind of like, we're gonna go cut down this tree really quick, film it, and then we came home. So,
Well, you didn't necessarily strike me as like a wood guy, but I didn't know if maybe I was going to ask and you'd be like, "Oh, it was this beautiful X-year-old tree from so and so that, you know."
no.
Because you meet those people who'll be like, "Oh, I got this table handmade from a tree that used to be part of a boat or something like that." And you're like, "Oh, that's interesting."
Oh gosh, no. We're the set of people that are just like, I don't care. Get the cheapest of the cheapest thing, and whatever. Like, I don't know. I know there's those people out there that are like, yeah, this guitar is made out of Chinese oak from some crazy little town in, you know, Asia, and you know, it cost me like $3,000 to ship it here. Blah blah blah. No, we just cut down a pine tree. Pine's like the worst wood to use to build an instrument. So, but we didn't care. We wanted to do something fun, and the drums sound great. So
yeah, it worked.
It worked perfectly. I mean, yeah, we'll just put some like wood hardener on it, you know, to make it not break. That's the thing with pine, is it's very soft and very easy to break. So just gotta be kind of careful. But yeah, it worked out. I mean, whatever. I know people always say don't do this, don't do that on the internet, but I just do it. It's fun.
No, I appreciate that. Now, so when does the process of building the instruments start? And are you simultaneously writing the material for the record, or is it one then the other? How did it come together with the material?
Yeah, we started writing the album, like, it took a long time to write the album, but we were demoing, kind of coming with ideas like November, December-ish, and then we cut down the tree like mid-January. And then kind of like Kyle, and that's what I mean, like Kyle did a lot of it because I was upstairs, like, you know, writing and demoing. So it was kind of like all at the same time. You know, we'd choose like certain days to just dedicate our whole day to working on the drums or instruments, and then dedicate like a whole day on you know, writing and stuff. So it kind of like sucks because it kind of like made the album take twice as long to complete because, you know, you just can't do two things at the same time, and you really have to be careful. You can't rush building these instruments because one slip of the table saw and you lose your freaking finger. So you got to be careful, and if the measurements are literally like a millimeter off, the whole drum set like falls apart. And you know, it's just like there's so many little things that you have to take into account, and so it was very tedious work. And on top of that, you know, I'm a perfectionist when it comes to the music aspect, so I'm not going to release a song that's not good enough, in my opinion. And so I scrapped tens of songs, you know, 10, 20 songs I didn't like, and took forever to write the music. Just took forever. It was just such a long process, but it worked out, so that's good.
Would you say the process of building the instruments and doing all of that with your hands influenced the material that actually does end up being on the album in the end? As far as like lyrical or
Yeah,
thematically at all?
maybe in the fact that like it was so much work that I wasn't going to, you know, like not put, I don't know, like it was kind of like, well, we're putting so much work into building these instruments, like this album better freaking be amazing. Like if it's not amazing, then this whole thing was not worth it at all. So maybe that kind of like catered to us, like, you know, working even harder, even though we were working super hard, but even harder on making the music sound better, you know. So
I actually had that thought the first time I read about the album. I was like, I know every artist is nervous when their record's coming out, but having spent all the time to build the instruments to make the record, if it turned out to not be what you hoped it would become, like how devastating that would feel. As someone who just likes the band, my soul started to worry for you, where I was like, man, before I hit play, I was nervous. I was like, geez, if this doesn't work out, oh.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing is like, you know, I had to keep getting extensions from the label being like, I'm sorry, I don't have it done. You know, honestly, I don't even have a single song done yet. I know you wanted the album done by now, but I don't have a single song because I'm not happy with how it sounds. Like it just sounds okay. I'm not gonna just release an okay record. You know, we'll release this thing in freaking September if I'm not okay with the songs being good enough, you know? So I don't know. I just cared. I think we all cared way too much, and it's a good thing because I feel like bands these days are so like, and I'm not trying to bash on anyone here, but I just feel like so many bands want to put out a record so quickly after their last one. Like some bands are releasing records within a year of each other, and that's cool and all. It's just like, but you got to remember, like, your record has to be good. Material is material, but if it's not good, people forget about it so fast. And I don't know, I just don't want to be that. So I kind of always just taken what a lot of classic rock bands did in the day, where they take years and years to write a new record, you know. But they're timeless records. Like they're records that you still hear in Taco Bells all over America. And I don't know, I just you can't put a time frame on a timeless record. I'm not saying our album's timeless. I can't say that. That's not my place to say it. But I just feel like if you strive for something to be timeless, you put the time into it, your record's going to sound good.
No, I completely understand where you're coming from, and I agree wholeheartedly, because you really can't put it, because if you put that cap on it, then you're kind of rushing to meet the deadline. And sure, there are people who will tell you that they work best when they have a deadline, but you really, in order to really make the most genuine product, I think you just need to allow it to come to you.
Yeah, and like you can't really put time. You can't put time on you know, creativity. Like if you go to work, like if you're building a house and you tell the boss, I'm gonna have 4 walls done by today, because you do the math, you know how long it takes, you know, it's labor, so you're not really thinking, you're just attaching wood together, you're nailing it down, whatever. There's a lot involved, obviously, but you've been doing it long enough that you know that in 6 hours from now, mathematically how I do things, and I've been doing it so long, I will have this much done by this time. And that's just labor. That's like 9 to 5 job, and you go home and you're done for the day. But creativity, someone goes, how many songs will you have done by next week? And you go, well, if I can write a song a day, then I'll have 7 songs done. But it might take me 7 days to write one song. Who knows? I don't even know. I haven't started writing yet. So I could have 0 songs done in a week. I could have 7 songs done in a week. Who knows? And that's the difference between putting a time frame on creativity and then putting a time on labor. It's just 2 separate things. At least I think so.
I agree with you, but I think a lot of people get nervous about the idea of like, let me just sit with my thoughts. Like if it's not coming to them, the idea that if they're patient, it'll come, or, that sometimes you need to like kind of let ideas gestate before they come out. I think some people, when it isn't just immediately on top, they're like, oh, I'll have to force it out of me. I have to like find a way to force the song out of me.
Yeah. And like sometimes people work under that pressure really well. And, I've heard of people writing albums and songs like really fast, and it's been, awesome, and that's great, but that just depends on the person, honestly. I am not wired that way. I was not made to work like that. So, yeah, it just depends on the person, honestly.
Well, people have started to hear the album. I think the video for Unwanted is incredible. I mean, all of your videos I enjoy, but I think you guys really match the theme of the album very well with that clip, and I enjoy it thoroughly.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Do you have a clip that you're particularly proud of in your filmography that you've been building?
Like a
video?
Video?
Yeah.
I liked Unwanted a lot. It didn't turn out like I wanted it to, unfortunately.
What did you want it to be?
I wanted more time on it. My brother was getting married. My brother got married like 2 weeks ago, and he's on his honeymoon right now. He gets back today. And it was just, we rushed that video so badly, and it turned out great, and I love it, and I think it's awesome. But, and I'm not bashing it in any way. It's just, I think if I would have had like 2 more days, I could have worked out some stuff that I had to do in post. And it just, I was stressed so much during that whole thing that I just felt like my headspace was not 100%. So I don't think Unwanted is my best video, but I think it's one of my best. But I think Saloon is the best still. I think Saloon, I can't beat Saloon yet. I don't know how I shot the video. Like, I'm very, very proud of that video. And I'm proud of Unwanted, but not as much as Saloon.
Well, I'm sure you'll get there. You'll get there. What I like about Unwanted is that I see a lot of performance videos. I mean, most music videos are performance videos these days, but you found a way to take an idea that I feel like we've seen before, especially with the mirrors and stuff, and make it feel new. And I know a lot of that was done in the editing. Like, I think the Unwanted video to me was like a perfect example of like, you can make an incredible video in the editing bay if you know what you're doing. Like, you can splice footage together and make something just look insane, regardless of what it was when it started.
Yeah, and luckily, like, I am much more confident in my editing skills than I am with my filming skills right now, and at least where I am at with some, like, cinematography. So I'm never really worried about the editing stage, and, like, I don't know. I think the concept of Unwanted is, like, probably the coolest concept we've come up with for a music video. I mean, Saloon was great, and that's where I'm more proud of Unwanted, for the concept of, like, something, because I feel like it literally showed the handmade idea, like, perfectly, but not in like a way, because we could have done a song where we're cutting down a tree and, like, doing stuff like that, and that would show handmade, but it wouldn't, like, I feel like handmade has so many different open-ended ways you could view it. I feel like Unwanted took it a different direction, but still brought it all together at the same time. So.
Okay, I follow that. I do love the video for Saloon. Like, I can't argue with you on that. It's a fun video.
Yeah, it's just I love videos like that. I love videos that, sometimes, like, when I wrote Saloon, I wrote it like I was going to put it in a movie, you know? Like, it's a very cinematic song. It's telling a story. It literally has, like, an audio, like, video kind of, I don't know what they're called, when you make the audio sound like it's, like, a movie.
Yeah.
You know, that whole, like, intro to the album is like a movie, and then it goes into that song, and it's just a very cinematic song, in my opinion. And, you know, I love music videos like that. I love the ones that are brought to life as a movie, like Thriller by Michael Jackson. That's amazing. Like, that is so cool how they did stuff like that. And, you know, I'm always intrigued by that. And so maybe I'm just more proud of Saloon because it just, to me, felt like a movie, like a 4-minute movie. And Unwanted is a 4-minute music video. So
Yeah, I
I
get
guess
that.
it's just, I look at it two different ways.
Yeah, I mean, thinking about the Saloon video now, it is kind of for, not to make a pun, but a complete concept. Like, there's a story. It almost feels like there's a whole story there, whereas
Yeah, there's
Unwanted is
not.
like a cool scene.
Yes, and Unwanted is very, like, it's an artsy, kind of a trendy type video, which is what people want these days. They want something like that. But yeah, it's not much of a story. So, and I love stories. Well, that's just the difference.
Have you done any more videos for the album yet, or do you know what you're going to do next?
You have a few ideas. We did shoot part of one
Part of
in the
one?
same week. Yeah, it's hard to explain.
Okay.
I don't know if it's even going to be. I don't know what's going to happen with it yet. It's going to. I don't really want to say what it is either, but
That's fair.
We're definitely in the works with some stuff. I have some more ideas for other music videos, but you know, we really want to, like. Saloon had a ton of music videos. I think we had 5.
Yeah, I think that's
and that's
right.
cool. But like, I'd rather have videos that are like Saloon or Unwanted or CoverGirl that are like epic than to have like filler music videos like Class of 2010 or like Autumn or even Fillers and Fakes. I feel like those are kind of filler music videos that aren't really awesome. Like, they're really good, but they're not like epic. And I would rather do less music videos that are epic than do more videos that are okay. So I'm really just trying to hone in on, like, do I really want to release this if it's just going to be okay, kind of. So I have a few ideas, and we'll see what happens once we get back from this upcoming tour.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So you guys are leaving soon, right?
Yeah, in like a week or so. Like,
Yeah, that's soon.
Yeah, about a week. Yeah.
Just in time for the
Yeah.
album release.
It's coming up. Yeah, I'm really glad that we're touring around the release. It's like probably one of the most important things you can do if your band is releasing an album is to tour on it right when it comes out. Because, I mean, those first week numbers are so important. And just to keep the tide going, you know, to keep the wave moving and stuff, you gotta like do everything you can around the release to keep people interested. So I'm really excited for that tour. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, I was actually just talking to somebody about this over the weekend. We were talking about how the industry has been changing, and it used to be that we were kind of talking about that window of promotion where a label or the people working around us kind of put themselves around a band, kind of decide like how much time they're going to put into that band after the new album is out. And it used to be like you had like that first month, but now it's really like the first 2 weeks and everything you can do during pre-orders. It's
yeah.
You can probably shine some better light on it than me, but go on.
Well, yeah, it's just about, like, I don't know, and I'm still learning this side of things, just the marketing side of music, and it's not really my job, but at the same time, it's totally my job because it's probably like one of the most important parts of our, you know, to promote your band. I just feel like people's mind spans these days are so small. Like, literally, like, people forget about something like Fallout 4 coming out today or announced today. Everyone is so excited, freaking stoked. But a week from now, freaking Star Wars is gonna, like, the new trailer for Star Wars is gonna come out, and everyone's gonna be totally forget about Fallout 4.
True.
Or, you know, like, no one can, like, keep their attention for like more than a few days or even a week. And I think the industry has kind of had to, like, cater to that, in the fact that like instead of like promoting an upcoming album for 6 months, you know, we need to like put all of our time and all of our money and all of our promotion like into a month or maybe a 2-month span, and just push it every day and just keep people like knowing this is coming out, this is coming out this time, this is coming out this time. Don't forget, because you keep forgetting everything because the world is just I don't know. It's really sad that it's like this, but yeah, so I don't know. We've just been like kind of pushing really hard, like, you know, these last 2 weeks, and then probably like the 2 weeks following or the month following the album release, and then after that, it's basically just up to the world to continue to like our music. I mean, we really can't do much after that. We can post, we can do ads, but it really just doesn't have the hype and the tidal wave that you need to just get people like, you know, just, I don't even know what I'm trying to say anymore. I lost my train of thought.
No, you're right on track. Don't worry.
You're just like telling me like, no, you're doing good.
No, you're on the rails still. Don't worry. I'll stop you if I'm like, I think you're way off now.
No, I just think that like after, you know, a month after your album comes out, like that's when people kind of, I don't know. I feel like that's when like a timeless record starts to shine. Is people still like it a month later, and the time, you know, because if people like an album but they only listen to it like a few times and they're like, it's okay, but you know, this came out last month and I'm kind of over it. But if they're still like listening to it a month later, they're still going to share it to their friends. They're still going to show the music to their people that they want to hear it. But if the album's just okay, then I don't know. I feel like that's kind of what the timeless part comes into play, because you really can't do much after your album's out until you have a new album that comes out. So.
Well, I think you're in good hands with this record because you made a phenomenal album. I mean, the concept's cool enough, but I legitimately believe the album is better than the concept.
Awesome.
So well, for whatever that was worth, I think Prisoner might be one of the best songs you've ever made. It's just great.
Really?
Yeah, dude, I love that song. I don't know why. It sticks with me.
Thanks, man. That's actually, oh man.
You're about to tell me that that's your least favorite song on the record?
No, that's not my least favorite. That's not my least favorite song. I think it's my second least favorite song. And the only reason why is because Prisoner was kind of one of the first, actually, Unwanted was the very first song we wrote for the album. And I wrote Unwanted in one day. So it's funny that I was talking about it takes forever to write songs. Unwanted was written in one day. But despite that, Prisoner was like the first song we kind of wrote, and didn't have lyrics or anything. It really didn't have much of a concept for it. Just kind of like wrote the opening riffs and a few things, and like, yeah, it was just one of those songs that like sounded freaking awesome, like so cool. But then other songs started being written, and it just kind of was like one of those songs that sounded amazing until it was put next to some of our other music. And then I started realizing, like, Prisoner really, I just don't know if I like Prisoner as much as Amends. I don't know if I like it as much as this song or that song. And that's the only reason why. And it could be because it's like more classic rock sounding, in my opinion. Maybe it's because like just the mix of the song, like, in my opinion, isn't as good as other songs, because, you know, I mix all these songs, so I'm very critical of myself when it comes to mixes and stuff. So I don't know. I'm just rambling.
It's fine. It's fine, man. It's cool. I like the entire album. That's just one that sticks out to me. I was gonna ask you something else I find interesting about you. You touched on this. Saloon opens very cinematically, and I feel like and Handmade does too, because the first track is only 52 seconds long. So there's really only 9 full-length songs on the record.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's a theme you like? You seem to like that cinematic, like introducing people to the record as opposed to just being like, let's like something real catchy up top. You're like, no, let's ease into the album.
Yeah, I think it just honestly uh it stems from like Dream Theater. When we listen to Dream Theater a lot, it was they have a lot of that stuff. They have 4 albums that connect with one another, with the same, like a lot of things that have kind of inspired me. And they're just very cinematic about how they go about stuff. I don't really listen to the band, I liked them for a while, but their music isn't really what I like. But I still respect what they're doing, and I kind of like that cinematic approach to what they do. And so yeah, I don't know. I just like to like put on an album, and I'm not like that kind of guy that just buys like singles off iTunes. I've always been the guy that like puts a CD in, and I want to listen to the whole record from front to back the way it was meant, because I feel like track placement, the track listing, is not just like sporadically and randomly put. People do that for a reason. Like they do a track list and they put the songs in the order that they deem to be the right way to listen to a song all the way through. And so I've always like done it that way. And when I put on an album and put my headphones on, like I kind of want to just like pretend that I'm like watching a movie and this is a soundtrack for a movie. And I'm just like, I don't know, I'm listening to an album and it opens up with an intro. So yeah, I don't know.
No, I appreciate it, man. I think it's really great when a band is conscious about the fact that they're making an album, because I feel like so many artists will be like, we have a new album coming out, but it's very clear that they have 11 new songs coming out at the same time, and there's a difference.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you've there's, like I said, there's only like 9 full songs on this record, but it sounds like a complete record. I don't know if we can say that that's just because there's an intro at the beginning of it, but it's clearly consciously been pieced together, and I think that that's what I really appreciate about it.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, try to put a lot of time into that type of stuff. So.
Well, so you have like 9, just over a week to go until the tour starts. And how long does that go? Like a month?
Yeah, it's like, I think it's about a month.
You and Dayseeker, yeah. 2 great bands. Dayseeker's phenomenal.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've never seen them live, but I hear that they're great.
You're going to have lots of opportunities.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, every single night. Great. Yeah, and we're touring with Outlands too. I don't really know a lot about them, but they seem to be doing really good for themselves. So I'm stoked about that too.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show to talk about everything today. We've had a lot. I've learned a lot. I've been listening to this record for a few weeks now, and I wanted to talk to you so much about it. And I was hoping that you weren't like burnt out on talking about the handmade aspect of it, because I know that that's going to be something that like you're going to do in every interview for the next 6 to 8 months.
Probably.
So I wanted to cash in early. I wanted to get that long conversation in early before you were like, oh, here we go again.
No, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I hope I answered the questions you wanted answering, and yeah, I know I talk a lot, but I think this is a podcast, right?
So yeah. Like, so you're fine. It's meant to be
not
long.
like an interview.
Yeah. It's supposed to be a conversation.
Yeah, it's more conversation. That's awesome. Cool. Well, yeah, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
No problem at all, man. Now, if people want to keep up with you guys, I know it's at Ongoing Concept on Twitter. Is it just that everywhere? And your website's theongoingconcept.com, I assume?
Yeah, theongoingconcept.com, The Ongoing Concept, Facebook / Twitter didn't allow us to do The Ongoing Concept. I don't know why. Instagram, just The Ongoing Concept. Yeah.
Hit you up. Okay, man.
So,
that works great. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today. We're going to plug in probably Unwanted in here. I think it'll be the song that we use during the show. But
cool.
Before we go, I said my favorite track. What is the track that you love the most on the new album that you hope people check out?
I think it's a toss-up between Melody and Unwanted, probably. Unwanted, it's always been one of my favorites. But yeah, Melody is kind of like that track that I think is kind of take people off guard, and I love that song. I don't know why, but yeah, I'm gonna say Melody, actually, just because everyone's heard Unwanted. So.
No, that's great. Okay, so Melody's the song to check out. The album drops June 16th, Solid State Records, and then do you guys start tour? Yeah, you start tour before that, right? In Denver.
Start tour on the 11th, yeah.
In Denver. Okay, so if you live in Denver, June 11th. Everyone else June 16th, unless you're on one of the other tour dates.
Yes.
All right, man. You have a great day.
Cool. Thanks, man. I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you later, man. Bye.
Bye.